going on, guys? It's Wade with the testing team at eXp Realty. In this video, we're going to be talking about some of the things that you want to look for before you are looking to buy a home. These are going to be things that you are walking through a property and you want to identify any problems with the home before you're looking to buy it. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, my name is Wade. I'm a local real estate agent, real estate investor, and YouTuber located in Orlando, Florida. I work with the testing team, being one of the top teams in all of Orlando. So be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you guys have any additional questions, be sure to comment down below or check out any of the other videos on this channel if you're looking just to become educated in real estate. And until then, let's go ahead, let's get into the video. All right, guys, we are out here at the property. We are going to be looking at the four main things that you're going to want to pay attention to when you're actually touring a property, as well as some smaller minor details as well. But when we're touring this home, this is going to be everything you're going to want to make sure is functional when you're actually looking to purchase a property, whether it be for your own residence or whether it be for an investment property. We're going to be paying attention to our core four as well. So if you guys haven't heard me say, the four main things you need to look in a property are going to be the roof, the wiring, your AC, and your plumbing. So those four things are needed in order for someone to even live in the home. And unfortunately, if one of those things isn't properly working, it really doesn't affect the value of the home a huge amount, and it can really lose out on a lot of money over time if you guys aren't paying attention to those four things. So let's go ahead, let's get into the property. We're going to try and learn as much as we can when we're walking through. We're going to pay attention to the smaller details as well, but let's get into it. Thanks, guys. Bye. All right, guys, so walking on, and the first thing we're going to want to do when we're walking up to any property is pay attention to any wood rot that might be present on the home. This is just a first indicator to see how well taken care of the property was. You can see a lot of this property was cleaned up, and it looks like there's no real present damage to the exterior. It does look like it's a brick home as well, so we'll find out as we kind of walk on through and get a little bit better feel of the property. We can see there's no wood rot down here at the bottom, so it's always a great indicator of whether or not the home is taken care of. Next thing we're going to do, walking on through, take the sniff test, guys. So you're going to want to take a sniff test right when you walk on through a property. This is actually going to be a great way to see if you can actually build equity into the deal. If someone walks into a property and they smell something bad, they're just immediately not going to want the property. This home, I'm going to be honest, it smells great. She's got a little incense burning. She's got fresh baked cakes and things like that, which are honestly delicious. But the sniff test is a great way to actually save money. Walking on through, the next thing we're going to do is check all the light switches. So if you're checking a light switch and these aren't working, this actually looks like it's a dimmer switch. That's kind of cool. Check all the light switches, make sure they work. If they don't, it's probably just a simple wiring issue, but being aware of those small things can definitely save you a couple bucks in the meantime. And it'll also be something to be more prepared. If you're an FHA or a VA, they will require any of those damages to be fixed over time. So before you move in, make sure you check and see if all the light switches are working. All the light switches are doing good so far. When you're opening up these doors as well, make sure you're checking all the doorways. So put them at different lengths. Now, if you see the door slowly starting to tilt like this over time, that means there's something off. It's just like probably the door frame is out of whack or something like that. But it could be something that could also be structural. So pay attention to that as well. Of course, an inspector is going to be the one to determine all of those things. So be sure to get a professional inspection done. As we're walking into the bathroom, guys, what you're going to want to do, every single faucet as you're turning into the property, make sure their faucet works. Also, what you're going to want to do is look underneath the faucet. Of course, don't go peeking at people's stuff, but make sure that there's no water damage underneath, and you're also going to want to flush every single toilet. So here, I'll do it. Looks like it's got. So after you flush every single toilet, of course, it looks pretty good. And then walking into the shower, we're going to see if there's any water damage. Doesn't look like there's any creases. There's no mold around the side there. It looks like this was properly cleaned very well. And I also don't see any mildew or moisture on the top of the ceiling. So those are all going to be things that you're going to want to pay attention to when you're actually coming through a property. Next thing you're going to want to do, guys, is make sure all the lights turn on. So, of course, we check switches, but in this particular bathroom, I noticed this person didn't have this on. Looks like it was just a fan. And listen for the fan to work. Make sure those fans are properly connected. Make sure they're actually ventilated well, because over time, it can cause moisture damage in a property. So make sure you're checking the fans as you're walking through these homes. All right, guys, walking into these bedrooms, another thing that we're going to want to check are going to be every single one of these closet doors. So make sure when they open smooth. Of course, again, don't go sniffing through people's stuff, but you can see this door opens very, very smoothly. And that's just one less thing that you really have to worry about when you get into a property. It's just making sure your doors open nice. It's another great way to actually feel like you're really, really taking care of the property. So make sure that you're checking these doorways. All the lights, again, seem like they're turning on. I am going to inspect the windows here real quick. They all look like they're sealed up pretty good. I don't see any leaks or anything in the corner, which is a very, very common place you'll see window damage. Of course, that's not going to be incredibly common, but with Florida, it rains a lot. I want to make sure the windows are all properly functioning. So guys, walking into the great room, this is actually a really great opportunity to see if there's any major issues with the property. So you can look at the ceiling, see if there's anything sagging, anything like that. It looks like there's a little patch here, which is kind of interesting. I'd like to know what that is, but I'm not suspecting any damage because there's no water, moisture, or anything. It looks like this actually is structural here, so this might be an addition. So it's just all small details that you can actually pick up on over time to see if there's anything going on in the home that might not be functioning well. So guys, as we walk into the kitchen, there's actually going to be a lot of things that you want to pay attention to. Of course, we're going to check the sink. We already know that we want to make sure all the water turns on and there's no leaks beneath the sink. You also want to make sure the oven turns on. If the oven doesn't turn on, well, that's going to be another issue for FHA and VA buyers. You need to make sure all appliances are working inside the home. You'll also notice that a lot of bathrooms and kitchens are having this tile backing right now. And you'll see these cracks here. Now this is very, very common. You're not really going to be worried about that. But if you ever see a smear that's just really, really bad on the bottom of these, that means that they likely didn't seal up the tile correctly. So make sure the tile is going to be on there perfectly. It has a great seal and it also looks good for any time you have guests over. Let's turn on the sink here to see how well it does. Looks like it does great. It's got no drainage on the other side of the, or pooling on the other side of the sink. Doesn't look like there's any water damage around the base here. And we'll also check underneath. Oh, can't really see much. Does look like there's a garbage disposal, but I don't see any water damage, which is a great thing to have. Now guys, as we walk into the laundry room, we're going to be paying attention to two things here. So one, we already came through the front door, it opened up fine, but we're going to check the second and third entry doors as well, just to make sure that they open okay. So we'll start with the garage. Looks like it opens just fine. But it's always just making sure those door frames are nice and well sealed. Make sure there's no gaps down at the bottom, things like that. Plus, if you can't open a door, there might be a structure issue there. So both of these look great. We do see a little bit of a gap right there, but I think that's just a small piece of trim, not really anything to worry about. Then, as we make our way to the back here, I always like to look behind the washer and dryer unit. So you can see back here, let's see what it looks like. Looks pretty clean. Something I see very common is a little bit of rust and damage right there. There may have been a leak there at some time. Right now it looks pretty dang clean, so I'm not really too worried about it. I know that there's a newer water unit on this property, so that could be from AH on the last one. But then second thing is with the dryer. These vents right here are very commonly plugged up. What I will do is post a photo right here. This is a plugged vent that looks absolutely nasty. Make sure you're cleaning out these vents so there are no fires that are possible. They just pack up with lint and things like that. So over time, be sure you are keeping those clean and protecting your property. So guys, next we're going to be checking all our water surfaces. This is going to be a pretty important part. You just want to make sure that these are 3-prong outlets with the age. So of course the home was built in the 1960s. It is common to come across a 2-prong outlet, but you also want to make sure these are actually rated to have GFCI outlets. So GFCI is basically so if any water comes through, splashes into the outlet, and make sure that there's no sparks or anything like that. And what will happen is the outlet will trip and no fires will actually start. So it's a great way to protect your home. Make sure you have the proper outlets, but I will say those are very, very easy things to fix. If you do not have GFCI outlets, it's very, very easy to actually go through and make sure that they are up to date. Next thing with the wiring is you're also going to make sure you have 3-prong outlets. So this one's full here. That's a 3-prong over there, but here's a good blank one. You want to make sure these outlets here are 3-prong outlets. So you see 1, 2, 3. What happens is on 2-prong outlets, they aren't grounded. So if there's ever a surge or something like that, it can cause fires, sparks. It's really just a safety hazard. And of course, there are ways to actually get around that. I'm not an electrician, so I'm not going to talk on it. But make sure anytime you're looking through, you have these 3-prong outlets and that they are grounded correctly when you have your inspection report. Alright guys, first of our core 4, we are going to be talking about the AC unit. So we're going to want to make sure the AC unit is in proper working condition. One, of course, I am not an inspector, so have an inspector check every single one of your appliances in the home. But a great way just to see if this AC unit is working is, was it cool in the house when you walked through, and make sure it's also a newer AC unit. You can tell the age by this little serial number right here. A lot of times you'll see they have like the date numbers like down here or off to the side, which are great things to go off of. But if those aren't provided, you'll see it in the first 2 digits or the second 2 digits of the serial number. This AC unit does look newer, so I'm going to assume it is a 2015. But that's going to be it for the AC unit. It does look like it's in great working condition. I don't see any major water pooling around the bottom. I do see a little bit of wet damage here. I do think that's probably just from humidity, but I don't see any major issues just at first glance. Alright guys, second thing on the list is going to be our plumbing. So we can see first look, we do have copper piping. The home was built in the 1960s, so copper is a little bit outdated, but this isn't going to be incredibly horrible. It's just a little outdated for us. We're going to make sure all the seals are good. I don't see anything on the valves or anything like that. I do see some corrosion right there, so that might be something that an inspector is going to look at. Might be worried a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's really just going to be putting on a new pipe there, making sure everything is sealed nice and tight. Next, we're going to check the age of the water heater. So same thing on here, you check the serial number and or the manufacture date. So you can see right here, nice and easy, September 2015, and a great way to just check the date. But you can also tell in the serial number, there's a little 15 right there. I'm not really sure if that corresponds to the actual date of the manufacture date, but you can actually tell generally by the manufacture date on the receipt there. And finally, guys, on our core 4, we are going to be talking about the roof. You're going to be looking for 2 main things on the roof. The first is going to be the granules on the shingles. The second is going to be if it's peeling on the edges. Those are going to be 2 great things that really tell you if the roof is in good condition. An inspector is really going to be the person to tell you how much longer the roof really has left. Of course, there could always be some major thing, but just to get yourself an idea, look at the roof and see if it's like peeling in the corners and things like that. You'll see nasty peeling on roofs that really need to be replaced. And that's just going to give you a quick insight on things just to be prepared on if the roof does need to be replaced whenever you're trying to purchase this home. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. If you found it helpful, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. If you have any questions, be sure to comment down below. And if you have a topic that you want me to address, then post about, have more videos posted on that you need help with, be sure to let me know. You can hit me in my email in the description, or just comment in the videos down below. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.